Welcome, everyone, to the L7C podcast. The road to the Super Bowl continues. We're going to review Wild Card weekend and preview the divisional round. We got the NFL expert head producer, Mr. Justin Ackendale. How are you doing today, sir?
Man, I was feeling great after Monday. Even better yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And now OSU basketball's pissing me off right now. I swear to God.
Oh, we got to differentiate. OSU men, women number 2 in the country.
Yes, the men's basketball team. Because we know the women are hard. But God damn it, Chris Holtman. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, and fun fact that I told my brother about, Chris Holtman has never won a conference title anywhere he's coached.
Oh.
And
God
that's
damn it.
regular season conference and tournament conference title. He's always missed them.
I know I'm not the basketball guy on the L7C, but I ref that shit and I watch tons of it. Fucking fire that man today.
Oh,
Fire him today. I'm on my Byron shit now. Give that nigga that axe right now.
Oh, well, and we haven't even been out the first weekend in the NCAA tournament in forever, so we'll see. There's some rumblings that he might take the Texas job since that's open now.
He can be shitty in the Big 12. That's a good league.
We'll
good
see.
luck, Chris.
We'll
good luck,
see.
coach.
I tried to tell you guys, man, this team is just, I know we're going to be talking NFL most, but just quickly on the OSU basketball team. They don't make winning plays. Anytime they need to get a loose ball, they don't get it. Anytime they need to foul, they don't do it. Everything they do does not equal winning.
And that's coaching. Like that type of shit, like that situational type of like not making plays got everything to do with the fucking coach. Like what the fuck y'all niggas doing in practice? It's fucking the college. I know these niggas are practicing. This ain't the NBA where you don't practice. Like these niggas play 3 games a week. They fucking practice. Like, come on now.
Yeah, and it's going to be our second straight year where we have a one and done too, because Bryce is going to go to the NBA.
Oh yeah, they were saying he shoots 46% for 3. He's out of here.
Yeah, he's out of here. And last time was Malachi Brandon and EJ Liddell went to the league last year. We're supposed to have a top 5 recruiting class come in next year, but yeah, it's not looking too hot for the Buckeyes. But let's go to the NFL, Justin. Wildcard weekend concluded this past Monday, and there was obviously a lot of games, a lot of surprises, and not that many surprises. And
man, fucking too many games, if you ask me.
Well, ever since they extended the playoffs to 7 teams, it's more money for everyone. It is a lot.
I know, but it's a lot.
I know. You got Monday night playoff games.
Which is bullshit. We'll get into it when we get to the Cowboys and 49ers, but that shit is like getting that spot and then having to fucking go back on the road to play San Francisco. I know it's the latest slot on Sunday, but like, god damn, that's bullshit. Like these niggas ain't they didn't practice on Tuesday.
How could you? But all right, man. First game looks like we're gonna be talking about a team that shouldn't even be here. Jacksonville and Kansas City.
Yeah, Jags won their game last week. We'll get into all of that. 31-30. The Chargers were leading at halftime 27-7. And then they lose the game. The Chargers did not run the ball well enough in the second half. That killed them because when you're up by that much, you just have to like limit possessions and make sure the other team doesn't get the ball and make field goals. Like that's all you need to do. Chargers didn't run the ball enough. The Jags are starting to come back. It's 30-20. Penalties start rearing their ugly head. Joey Bosa gets flagged for a 15-yard and sports like penalty in that game. And then on the next Chargers drive, they get all the way down to the 22-yard line and the kicker misses the field goal. Next Jags drive, they go down. Trevor Lawrence gets a 9-yard touchdown pass to Christian Kirk. The Jags line up to kick the PAT, and then Joey Bosa gets another unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, which moves the ball to the 1. Jacksonville goes back out there and sinks the ball in with Trevor Lawrence. Now the game is 30-28. Chargers go 3 and out with 3:20 left in the game, and the Jags just hold on to the ball and kick the field goal to win the game. I think the loss is I think this game was pretty much the Chargers just being shitty in the second half. Like, yes, the Jags. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Trevor Lawrence had 4 interceptions in the first half.
Yes, he did.
Didn't mention that. Couple of those were I think 2 of them were like tipped, which weren't really his fault, but the other 2, like he just wasn't seeing the field well. Like you can't make those throws in those situations. I see where I'm at. Yeah, but you gotta give Trevor Lawrence credit for being able to bounce back after throwing 4 picks. I know the Chargers were sagging back a little bit. They weren't really pressuring him up by that much, which I get. They're just trying to like not let the big play happen, but yeah, he was just he played really good in the second half. He was throwing the ball a lot better and just seeing the field better. And yeah, the Chargers ended up firing their OC instead of Brandon Staley.
And the
I don't really know
quarterback's
how.
coach.
Oh, the quarterback coach
They
too.
fired him too. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know where they go from here. Now Jacksonville has to go up to Kansas City Saturday at what wasn't that game? 4:30, I think.
Yeah, it's the first game.
Yeah, and we know who the Chiefs are at this point. Patrick Mahomes is still amazing. He's probably going to be the league MVP, 67%, 5,250 yards passing, 41 touchdowns. Travis Kelsey had another big year. Chiefs have the number 1 rated offense DVOA. I get Chiefs in this game. It's the better, well coached team, so I think they're going to pull it out at home. The spread's 8.5, so I don't really know if they're going to cover. Kansas City really doesn't cover big spreads like that, but I did take the under in this game. My number was 52. There's 52 on the halves and 53s out there. So you can probably get a better number than I did. And the under is 16-8-1 since 2008 when the Chiefs were favored by more than 7 points. So that's why I took the under.
So I know when we were talking about Ohio State, a little bit of basketball, we talked about coaching. It comes also too with the Chargers. You can't be up 27-0 at some point in 27-7 and blow that game. That's
No.
no. And then Doug Peter, I mean, it's shout out to Jacksonville because you saw like literally the roster is almost the exact same from last year, besides like Kirk. And then they get a competent coach.
They have a whole new receiving core. They have a whole new receiving core, but your point still stands. Like it's coaching. Like same quarterback. Travis Etienne is back. But yeah, your point still
same defense, same exact defense.
Yeah, same defense. They didn't really make any moves there. Yeah, you're right.
Which is crazy because I mean, with the Chargers, if you think about the preseason, there was a lot of people who said the Chargers were going to win the AFC West, let alone make a deep playoff run. This was supposed to be Justin Herbert. He was supposed to be also a main MVP candidate. They had a lot of injuries, and they just weren't. They weren't impressive, man. And this was icing on the cake. I don't know what they're going to do from here because sooner or later, like you said off air, they're going to have to pay Herbert his money, and then this team's going to get blown up.
Yeah, Herbert is definitely next in. Well, they're definitely going to have to pay him sooner rather than later. I would want to get Herbert signed before the Lamar Jackson deal gets done, before the Joe Burrow deal gets done. So, yeah, they need to figure out what they're going to do. It's inexcusable to have 3 points in the second half in a game that you were up 27 to you were up 27-0 in the second quarter, and you let Jacksonville score at the end of the first half to get to 27-7. But you can't blow that lead in the playoffs. Like simple as that. Like Jacksonville hands you the game in that first half. You should have been able to finish it. That one field, like literally, they needed that one field goal that their kicker missed in the fourth quarter, and that would have sealed the game. Like that probably would have been enough because I don't think Jacksonville would have been able to score a touchdown late in the game like that.
Agreed. And now they're at home. They're not a drawing board because I believe they have two $20 million receivers in Keenan and Williams.
I'll have to look up and see how much they make because I don't know if they make that much.
Oh, that's always been the running thing. They make like both $20 million.
They both do?
Close to it. I will look that up while you go on to the next game.
Yeah, next game. The next game on the Saturday slate got the 6th seeded New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are a 7.5 point favorite. Giants won last week against the Vikings 31-24. Vikings had a chance to win at the end of the game but couldn't do it. Kirk Cousins on 4th down throws the ball short of the sticks, and that's the game. The Giants thoroughly controlled this game. They outgained the Vikings. They had more first downs. They led in time possession. Daniel Jones was good once again in this game. 301 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 78 yards rushing. Saquon Barkley had 100 total yards in the game. Everyone knew that the Vikings were frauds, and it's a really ugly corner in this game. I said on the podcast that I was taking the Giants, but then my dumbass actually bet the Vikings once that number went under 3, and they were in position to cover that game, and they couldn't do it. But it was something to be expected because like they had that negative point differential. They were 11-0 in one score game, so like you just knew their time was coming. Like you knew they were not going to have like a real big playoff push because like they just weren't that good a team. The defense wasn't good at all. They literally let the Giants do anything they want offensively, and when the Giants have no receivers, it was just not a good defensive performance by the Vikings. Kirk Cousins he didn't show up late in the game. They were moving the ball throughout because the Giants defense sucks, but yeah, he just couldn't make the crucial play. And we got the Eagles, who the Giants will be playing this week. The Eagles were the best team in the NFL this season. They were 14-1 when Jalen Hurts was the starter. They traded for A.J. Brown in the offseason. He had 1,495 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns. The Eagles had the best rushing DVOA with Hurts and Miles Sanders leading that backfield. Defensively, the Eagles had the best pass defense DVOA, and they also had the most sacks, most team sacks. You might think it will be the Giants or the Cowboys. I mean, the 49ers or Cowboys. No, it was the Eagles. They had I think all 4 guys on the line had double-digit sacks or something stupid like that. Like, just crazy. This is going to be the 3rd matchup in about a month. The Eagles-Giants. Eagles won the first matchup 48-22, rushed for 253 yards and 4 touchdowns. Eagles also won the 2nd matchup of the year in Week 18 when the Giants weren't really playing anybody. The Giants have the worst run defense in the NFL, so I think this is just a bad matchup for them. So I think the Eagles are going to win. I think the Giants can keep it close just because divisional matchup. They see these guys all the time. They're going to know what they want to do. Brian Daboll is a great offensive mind. Wink Martindale is a great defensive coordinator. He was with Baltimore for all those years. So I think the Giants will be able to keep it close, but I don't see them win the game at all.
So a couple of things. Yes, Mike and Keenan both make 20 million. Mike Williams is 3 years, 60 million.
Damn.
And Keenan is 20 million and 25,000 a year. Yeah, so you have two $20 million receivers, and obviously Mike didn't play and Keenan played though, and you have all-purpose Austin Eckler's one of the best players in the league, and you don't get it done. But going to the Giants, so Justin, I do have to talk a little bit about them because in the early season, I made the comparison when you were talking about how they weren't good and they weren't going to make the playoffs. And I said, what is the difference between the Vikings and the Giants besides Justin Jefferson? That is what I said on one of the podcasts earlier this year. So I was actually glad they got to play each other. And I said the Giants, whenever they got smoked by Dallas that time this year, I said they're going home first round. I picked the Giants in my bet, so I was happy with that. And I mean, Daniel Jones, man, I know we've talked about him, move off him, this, yada, 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 but he just had a statement I'm going to say all the NFC East quarterbacks he played had legacy games in the playoffs this week. And him, Daniel Jones, coaching again. He got him a good coach.
Yeah, before Monday, I think Daniel Jones was the winner of Super Wild Card Weekend. Like, we all wrote this guy off. Same thing we did with Geno Smith. And just like you said, he gets a good offensive coach, and he's a totally different man. Like, he's a totally different man. He looks different in the pocket. He's running better in the pocket. We all remember when he was I can't remember what game it was, but it was a national TV game when he was like running loose down the field and fucking tripped over his own feet and fell on his face. We all remember that, and that just put a sour taste in all our mouths about Daniel Jones. But he's turning around, and the Giants have turned it around with the new coaching staff that they have. And yeah, you saw it way before I did. It took me until later in the season to come around, but I'll give you credit. You were on it way earlier than me because them being in the division, they didn't beat the Cowboys this year, they didn't beat the Eagles this year, so I just got biased towards them. So props to you for being able to see that before the alleged expert me.
And it's a fairy tale ending. I mean, it ends this weekend, but I think with the Eagles, though, with these divisional games, especially when you're a favorite like that, if at any point in the time that the Giants are winning in the fourth quarter, the Eagles, they're going to feel that pressure from that crowd. Like, that's all the Giants have to do. They just have to keep it. If they keep it close, they have a shot. Or the Eagles are just going to beat the brakes off of them.
See, I think the Eagles are going to come out the gates locked in.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get an early lead and then just use their advantage in the run game to just limit the possession and drain the clock out. I think the Giants are going to cover this game, but it's going to be a late cover, similar to the Thanksgiving game against the Cowboys where they got a touchdown late. So I think it's going to be a late cover. I think the Eagles get off to a great start in this game and kind of put it away early.
I agree. But Giants, you weren't supposed to be here. You made it the first time. Oh, man, I just lost that stat. It's the first time in a long time where it's literally the 49ers versus the NFC East who's going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man. Sounds like the 90s again.
Like, it's crazy. And
sounds like the 80s and the 90s again.
True. Now, this game, I've heard debate. I think this is going to be the game of the weekend, but both these teams are lucky they're even here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like Cincinnati and Buffalo.
They both survived. They both survived their games. We'll start with Buffalo first. Mm-hmm. They beat Miami 34-31. They were up 17-0 in the at the start of the second quarter of the game. And then Josh Allen throws 2 picks in that game, 2 picks in the second quarter, and then Miami ties the game up with 33 seconds left. And then the Bills get a field goal in the half. So it's 20-17 going in the halftime. And this is when I was texting you. I'm like, the Bills can still cover this shit. Like, you just saw that shit. Fucking 20 seconds, 33 seconds already in field goal range. Like, I'm still in my head thinking like, oh, these niggas gonna pull it out. Like, they got this shit. And then the first drive of the second half, Josh Allen, the sack fumble, and Miami scores a touchdown. Yep. And then at that point, I knew the cover is blown. The Bills aren't going to cover this game. They're in straight survivable now. The Bills get 2 more touchdowns in the third quarter to go up 34-24. The Dolphins get an early TD in the fourth quarter to make it a 3-point game. There's 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then the Bills spend the next fucking 10 minutes not running the ball, chucking that bitch to try to score more, or I don't know what. They weren't running Josh Allen. Josh Allen was not carrying the ball. They would not run the ball. They were pulling the Chargers. They were not trying to close the fucking game out. They just weren't trying to close the game out. Just let Miami hang around, and Miami had the third quarterback, so I knew the Bills weren't going to lose this game, but they made that shit so much more nerve-wracking than it needed to be. And then we get to the Bengals game on Sunday night. Now, when this game fucking started, and I saw Marcus Peters all riled up and shit, I'm like, oh, the Ravens came to fucking play. John Harbaugh, the better Harbaugh brother, in my opinion, like, he came to play. Like, him, about to say, coaches in the NFL, shit, I might have to go Tomlin 1, Shanahan 2, and then Harbaugh 3. Because he's been at shit almost just as long as Tomlin. Doesn't have all the winning seasons he does, but you know the Ravens are never shitty. The Ravens are never just complete total trash, and you gotta give them respect for that. Tyler Huntley was playing so well in this game. he was honestly amazing until this play that I'm about to talk about. Going into the fourth quarter, it's tied 17-17. Third down on the Bengals 2 yard line. Huntley does the quarterback sneak. They're at the 2 yard line, and the blockers are, they're going down. Like they're going down. They're trying to drive out so he can just sneak it in, like just run
Mhm.
behind them and like bulldog in. They had everyone like behind them and shit to push them in. You know how all these teams do. They line up running back and tight ends behind you so they can push you in. And then fucking Huntley's dumbass tries to jump over the line and reach the ball out. I guess he
Yes.
saw what Trevor Lawrence did on Saturday. And then Sam Hubbard not no, it wasn't Sam Hubbard knocked it out. The ball gets knocked out, he fumbles it, and Sam Hubbard picks it up and goes 98 yards for a touchdown. Just and then after he scored, the announcers didn't say anything. Like Tarico already made the call, and the fucking Paycor was going absolutely bonkers. Like momentum all in the Bengals now, and that was it for the Ravens. Like after that play, like they just couldn't handle it anymore, and the Bengals win. They survived just like the Bills did, and now we get to this matchup on Sunday. We were robbed of this game, week 17. Damar Hamlin is fine now. I'm so glad that he did not die that game, but we were all robbed of it because he had a heart attack on the field.
Mhm.
So we get the game in the playoffs at Buffalo. The line is Bills -5. Bills are a 5-point favorite, and they're in that week 17 game. That game was like a pick 'em, if I remember. It
Yes.
was like a pick. It was like the Bills were it was either a pick or the Bills by one. So a 4-point swing in 3 weeks when not really that much has changed other than the Bengals have one more lineman who's injured when the line was already kind of shaky. It's a little crazy to me. Like, I already bet the Bengals, like, I think they're going to cover. The Bills cannot run the ball. They haven't been able to run the ball all year. They had a stretch during the season where they run the ball a little better, but that's not their identity. Like, they're just not a run team. This team is all Josh Allen, and if Josh Allen doesn't do it for them, they won't. They won't win the game. The Bengals defense for them to win the game will have to show up big and stop Josh Allen. The corner situation for the Bengals is a little frightening with Eli Apple out there and Stephon Diggs on the other side. So I'm a little worried about that. With all that said, I think the Bengals will cover the game, but the Bills are going to win this game. They just have too much going on right now. Josh Allen is still amazing. He does have a little turnover problem though, so I just think the Bills are going to win this game. I just don't know why they're a 5-point favorite. I think it's just because of the cluster injury on the offensive line, but I think it's going to be a shootout game. I am leaning towards the under, and that's a lean because the Bengals offensive line is hurt. They are missing 3 stars, so I think they might try to run the ball a little bit more and try to control some clock. But that's just a lean because I can easily see this game being a shootout.
And so I was in researching for this stuff, listening to some of our previous stuff, and it was funny too. In the middle of the season, we even asked, "Are the Bills even good anymore?" Because they were going through that. Josh Allen was having like 2, 3 turnovers a game, and another person who came in clear cut, run away preseason MVP, and then I don't even know if he'll be in the top what 3.
He might be top 3.
He's going to be third. It'd be
Might be,
third.
yeah, he'll be third. Mahomes, Hurts,
Yeah,
Allen,
so
but definitely third.
we'll see with that. And I just feel like I don't know why they're getting that many points. It might be the line, offensive line, but the Bengals have been here before, man. They were here last year. No one was picking them to win these games, and then when they went on the road and beat Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, it's just I don't know how you doubt this team, and that was with a worser offensive line last year. I just also feel
Mm-hmm.
like Burrow and them are never out unless they're out. And
Yeah,
if
that's
Josh
why.
Allen gives them more, if Josh Allen turns the ball over, Cincinnati's going to win this game.
Yeah, Josh Allen definitely has to clean up the turnovers. Like weird shit. Last podcast we were talking about Dak. He has to clean up his turnovers. He
And
had
he
zero. He
did.
had zero on Monday.
Hmm.
He had zero on Monday, and Josh Allen wasn't throwing it to the other team to the same extent that Dak was, but Josh Allen will throw that bitch to the other team too. And then the next week he turns it over 3 times.
Yeah.
He turns it over 3 times. They were up. They were up when he was doing it. So I guess it's not as bad per se, but like if he turns the ball over against Joe Burrow, not a fucking third string quarterback, they're gonna lose this game. You're absolutely right. So I just think the home field's gonna be a thing in that game. If DeMar Hamlin's there, I have a hard time seeing the Bills lose, but covering 5 against a feisty Bengals team that we have seen do this for 2 years now with undermanned offensive line. They have a better defense. Buffalo does not run the ball. Buffalo's going to be in a dogfight even if they're at their A game, in my opinion. So, yeah, Bills win, Bengals cover.
If the game's tied in the fourth quarter, do you change your mind?
The game's tied in the fourth quarter. Then whoever has the ball last, because it's probably going to be a shootout at that point. Man, they're probably just going to be scoring up and down if the game's tied in the fourth quarter, especially late.
I do see a thing in your note, which is so true. I don't know how this guy Eli Apple always getting cooked.
Always,
it's bad.
Always, bro. He let them. I put that in there because he let the Marcus Robinson on the Ravens cook him, and we all know the Ravens have no receivers.
Yeah, well, Bateman got hurt, so I mean, it's like
since Rashard Bateman got hurt, they have had no receivers and no quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad. It's bad. I just think
the Bengals really did not play well on Sunday night. They
really didn't. They really didn't.
I did not think they were going to win that game.
It's funny too because they were going
to win it watching it.
The Hubbard runbacks was their only touchdown in the whole fourth. That was it. That was the only score.
It changed everything. It was the play that needed that. That was the play that they needed. I was live betting the Ravens that game. I was live betting them to win the game, and I was an idiot for not taking them before the game. But because they ended up covering.
And it's crazy too because even with all of that, that Hail Mary almost connected. That it hit the dude, and then it guy in the back where they did the wall and all that stuff, and it tipped off the guy's hand. Guy died for it. He could have caught that.
Yeah, and then it will win to overtime. Then I still think the Bengals will pull it off in overtime.
I do too. But
yeah, after that Sam Hubbard play, you just knew like the Ravens weren't going to be able to do anything after that. And Huntley was playing so good too up until that point. Like he was
all it takes is one.
He was really impressing me. Like he was making all the throws, seeing everything they needed to see, running when he had to. Like it was a good performance by him. He really showed up.
All it takes is the Ravens, one play.
Man, tough team.
One play is all it needs. But man, let's talk about the game dubbed America's Team versus America's GOAT. Cowboys, Buccaneers, and I said legacy game. That was a legacy game for Mr. Dak Prescott.
Yeah. So started the game out with 2 3-and-outs, and then Dak and the offense started to heat up. Dak throws a TD to Dalton Schultz. Next drive, Brady throws a red zone pick. Schultz gets another. No, Schultz gets the Wait, I fucked that up. Brady throws the pick, and then the Cowboys get down to the 1 yard line. 4th down play, naked boot. Dak runs it in for a touchdown. Tampa does nothing with the ball after this drive. Dalton Schultz gets another touchdown. Gets another touchdown, and then it's 18-0 going into halftime. It's 18-0 because at this point Brett Maher has missed 3 extra points. Tampa gets the ball second half. They do nothing with it again. Cowboys go 24-0 after the Gallup red zone TD. Maher misses his 4th extra point in the game, which is why it's not 28-0. Tampa scores late in the third, and then the Cowboys on their next drive hit CD Lamb for a touchdown to go up 31-6. Maher hits this extra point, which is why I think people were still watching this game at that point in the fourth quarter. And then the Bucs score again to get the 14 points, but the game's over at that point. Dak was 75% passing, 305 yards, and 5 touchdowns. I said after the second Eagles game that was Dak's best game. Nah, this one was the best game I've ever seen this man do. He was, after those 3 and outs, he was on fire. Like at a point in the game, he couldn't miss. Like he had like what 12 straight completions or something stupid like that. They were able to run the ball a little bit on Tampa Bay. It was just a dominant performance. The defense was pressuring Brady the entire game. Tom Brady he attempted 66 passes.
Too much, man.
Yeah, I mean, this was my prediction in last week's podcast. Like it was the most right I was on the podcast. I told you.
You did?
The Bucs can't run the fucking ball. The Bucs cannot run the ball to save their lives. So, yeah, it was easy to once you got out your head that Brady was not going to do his magic. It was an easy matchup to predict. It happened exactly how a smart football fan would think would happen. So yeah, that was what the Bucs asked. Dak had his best game ever. The Seahawks the day before they played the not the Seahawks, the 49ers played the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
And going to halftime this game, the Seahawks were actually up. We're actually up in this game, and then the 49ers score in their first drive of the second half. The next drive, the Seahawks fumble the ball, and Nick Bosa recovers it. And then on the drive after the fumble recovery, the 49ers score another touchdown to go up 31-17. Seahawks punt their next drive. And then on the next 49ers drive, Purdy hits Deebo Samuel for a 74-yard touchdown catch and run. And that's pretty much the game at this point. The 49ers had 505 yards of offense this game. This was their best offensive performance for the season. Brock Purdy played well, 332 yards, 4 total touchdowns. Deebo had 6 catches for 133 yards and a touchdown. C-Mac had over 100 yards rushing on only 15 carries. Defense got to Geno Smith 3 times, causing 2 turnovers. The 49ers just dominated the second half of this football game. The Seahawks tried. They put up a fight in the first half, but the 49ers were just too talented, too well coached in the second half, and that's what ended up being the difference. About the game on Sunday, Cowboys 49ers, tackling for the Cowboys to win the game. They're going to have to tackle well. The 49ers are a big yards after catch type of team. Deebo is always catching the ball and getting yards after the catch. You got to worry about Brandon Ayuk. He had 2 catches against the Seahawks where he was just wide open on a cross, which is just Kyle Shanahan scheming it up. Cowboys also had to get pressure on Brock Purdy, which I think they'll be able to. The Seahawks really did not get any pressure on Purdy. So I think that is a place where Dallas can get an edge for themselves. But, 49ers run the ball, and their offensive line is good. So it's going to be hard. Like, I don't think the 49ers are going to get 500 total yards against the Cowboys, but I think they'll be able to move the ball. The Cowboys are shaky on the run game up the middle, but I know the 49ers like to attack the edges, so we're a fast defense, so that might not be there. It's going to be a scary game. I can't, in my right mind, pick the Cowboys to win this game. I think they can cover it, but I ain't going to pick it. I'm too biased to put a pick out here. But I like the under. I think these teams will. I lean toward under. I haven't bet anything yet, but I think these defenses are going to play well. And we won't see the performances that these 2 quarterbacks had next week. I think it's going to be more of a defensive game, like a 2017 game, but I think the 49ers pull it out.
Yeah, so with the Cowboys winning, obviously there was a majority of people were picking the Bucs, obviously the talking people, because they're like,
Hold on. They most of the bets were on the Bucs.
Yeah,
Everyone was fading the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are a public team, so typically money comes in on them. But
yeah,
the
yep,
public was all over Tom Brady game against after that Week 18 game against Washington. They totally wrote the Cowboys off.
yeah. The Cowboys made everybody pay who picked the Bucks. So I mean, that defense showed like that defense we saw like in week 2 against the Bengals, who put like Joe Burrow and them in check. When Micah Parsons is getting to a quarterback, man, and he's relentless like that, I mean, I think he's going to be the difference maker in the San Francisco game because Purdy's been sitting Purdy in that pocket, and he hasn't had to go with some real pressure. When Micah starts coming for him, things might change. You might remember he was Mr. Irrelevant in the draft.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm pulling up the 49ers schedule. They really haven't played a defense as good as the Cowboys in this 10 game winning streak that they have been on. So I think I think the game is going to start off a little slow for them. They're not going to go off to the fast start that they did against the Seahawks.
Yeah,
And
so
I think if the Cowboys defense can get pressure on Brock Purdy, they can definitely win this game. The 49ers aren't invincible, but shit, when they get it rolling, they damn sure look like they're invincible.
yeah.
And they got it rolling against the Seahawks. So we just got to make sure we don't let the 49ers get rolling. Let them get in a rhythm, because if they get in a rhythm, then shit can get ugly.
And then on the Buck side, let's just be honest, if they were in a competent division, they wouldn't even be in the playoffs. It's just because the NFC out south was just so terrible this year. And here we're gonna go again. Also, what's he gonna do? He gonna re-sign with the Bucks? He gonna go elsewhere? Vegas? He gonna retire? We're gonna be back on that soapbox this summer. Well, this spring.
He has DraftKings odds right now on what he's going to do, and returning to the Bucks was the had the shortest odds. Retiring was not on there. Retirement was not on there. We have a better chance of seeing Aaron Rodgers retire before Tom Brady.
Oh boy, oh boy. There's nothing left for him to prove. I mean, in that game, that was just bad. 1 year 46. You shouldn't be throwing 60 something times. That's terrible. I know you have no run game, but y'all gotta figure out. Also, playoff Lenny. Did you see he came in a hoodie, sing playoff Lenny, and they do a damn thing?
We knew this. We knew they couldn't run the ball. They couldn't run the ball all season. Like,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
it
I forgot Julio was
some,
on the team.
yeah, Julio played well, but shit, 66 passes. I hope he can catch some balls.
I honestly forgot he was on the team. I really did. But we'll see, man. It's interesting too because we talked about like he was obviously the oldest quarterback by far in the playoffs, but right now Dak Prescott's the oldest quarterback in the playoffs, and he's only 29.
Yeah, yeah. And then if the Chiefs somehow lose, we're going to have a new quarterback will be crowned as a Super Bowl champion.
That is also great. Yeah, because Joe Burrow has been to the Super Bowl, but they lost, and Patrick's been to 2 and won. Yeah, we would have a first time. And let's be honest, unless the defensive player just goes absolutely bonkers, they're going to be the Super Bowl MVP too. Unless it's the 49ers, because Purdy ain't going to win Super Bowl MVP.
No, not on that stacked ass team.
No. But it's interesting, man. So you're thinking we're going to have the game. That's why I can't count out Joe Burrow, because everyone is already looking forward to. We're finally going to get the rematch from the greatest divisional game last year, Chiefs, Bills. I was like, don't be careful. And then you think 49ers, Eagles.
I do. Definitely the Eagles on that side. I really think the Cowboys can win the game, but I'm not in my right mind going to put my credibility on this podcast on the line by saying they're going to win on this podcast. But as a fan, like, there's definitely a path to victory.
If they would have had more rest, I think the line would have been different.
Yeah, that might also be factored in the line because the 49ers were done playing on Saturday and they played at home, so they didn't have to leave. The Cowboys played Monday night. They didn't get back to Dallas until Tuesday morning. Didn't practice on Tuesday. I think they had a light walk through the day.
Hmm.
So tomorrow's going to be their first time really practicing. But at this point in the season, I don't think these dudes are really practicing too much. So I don't think it's that big of I don't think it's that big a factor. But it's just something for people to cite if the Cowboys do lose this game for the diehards to be pissed off about.
And that's an old school NFL game again. 49ers Cowboys. That's old school.
Shit, Giants, Eagles are too.
That is old school too. Yeah, you're
That's
right.
as old as it gets.
It's true. Playoff. They have the 8:15 slot on Saturday. Chiefs, Jags have the 4:30 slot. Cincinnati, Buffalo has a 3 p.m. slot. And Dallas and San Francisco have the 6:30 Sunday night slot. Okay. Can't complain with that. The only other thing, wildcard weekend viewership numbers. These were the averages, not the peaks. Giants Vikings were at 33 million, Dolphins Bills 30, Bucks Cowboys were in the 30s, Seahawks 49ers 27, Ravens Bengals 26, Chargers Jags 20, probably because most people thought that game was going to be over. But a lot of 30s.
That's just the Jaguars and the Chargers. They just don't have the fan base.
That's true.
But still, 20 million people watch that game. That's still
Probably
the most rated thing. Yeah, that's probably the most rated thing of Saturday for sure.
100%. I mean, NFL on TV Guide, they had 85 of the top 100 rated television shows this in 2022. 85 out of
it's been.
I think 100.
Last year they had over 90.
Well, there's some shows. I mean, you got to also. I'm trying to think what else would be people's like local election. I don't know what the hell they'd be watching, but stuff like that. But usually it's NFL and like State of the Unions.
Yep, that's what brings this country together. I mean,
I don't know about together,
but that's what people care about in this country: football and politics.
That's true. Justin, just real quick, what's going on? I mean, obviously JK had that thing. If Lamar played, they would have won. I'm leaning that Lamar ain't gonna be there, man. I don't think they're not going to. Ravens aren't the Browns. They're not gonna cave.
Man, I would have said that he was 100% going to they're going to at least franchise him.
Mm-hmm.
But him not being at that playoff game was crazy. Like, I don't know if he's still rehabbing something or why he wasn't at the game, but that's just something you don't really do. You don't really see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't really know what's going to happen with Lamar Jackson. If I had to bet right now, the Ravens are going to franchise him, and then they're going to play that game with him. But I just don't see them letting him walk. I don't.
All right, Justin, anything else?
Let's see. Do I really feel like talking about Aaron Rodgers? What the hell he's going to do?
I mean,
do we care enough? Do we care?
Not really, because he's now. It's funny how history repeats itself because he used to hate Brett Favre for doing it. He's doing the same thing.
We said this last week. They're just slowly becoming the same person.
It's funny.
It's so crazy.
I mean, last time he did this, he lost the best receiver in football, Devontae Adams. This year, it's like, if he does come back, he's not going to go to OTAs. He's not going to practice. Hence why his connection with the receivers was ass, because he didn't practice. So it's like, if I'm him, if I'm Tom, I'm just looking around like the whole league. All the AFC, you're not beating any of those AFC teams if you get to a Super Bowl. You're not. And then when people are talking about Tom Brady go to the Raiders, you want Tom Brady to have to fight for a playoff spot with freaking Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert there?
I can see Tom Brady just needs to retire, but I can see Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's going to play for the Packers again next year.
You think he's going to go to the Raiders, try and reunite with Devontae?
Raiders, Titans. If he really wants to be like Brett Favre, the Jets. The Jets can.
Well, the Jets are good.
I like him with the Jets. I like him with the Titans too. Honestly, the Titans aren't a bad team. Ryan Tannehill just ain't it. Like, That's the only thing wrong with them for real.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Because I don't know. They just need to pack it in. I'm tired of all these people saying, "Will they? Won't he?" It's like Sean McVay went on this, "Will he? Won't he?" Retire, and then he's coming back next year. I'm like, what are we doing?
Sean McVay has no business thinking about retirement. That nigga was he's still only like 35, 36, right?
36. We
Man,
have people in
if
our
this
group chat who are almost the same age as him.
if this nigga don't keep working, this, like I know he's a fucking made man already, Super Bowl champion, youngest Super Bowl champion of all time, can go get any broadcast job he wants. Either fucking do that or stick to coaching. But at this point, I don't see him coaching until his 50s. At the rate he's going, he might. I don't think he's going to want to burn himself out because this coaching business, that's what it is. Like, you burn yourself out, you don't see your family, you're on the road, you're at the facility watching film. So it's a tough life. So I can definitely see him trying to get an easier life broadcasting because he'll definitely be good at that. You see how good Sean Payton is. I watch him on the herd all the time, and just some of the shit that he says is just the nuggets. Like, it's just good stuff.
Okay, but now we'll see. We'll be back next week, and next week's Championship Sunday, which is going to be crazy. Anything else, Justin?
Nah, that's it. I gotta get back to watching basketball, see how these bets are going.
Oh, you're probably not going to be happy. With that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Divisional round. You heard we got the Chiefs beating the Jags, Eagles beating the Giants, 49ers beating the Cowboys, and Bills beating the Bengals. I will say last week, I literally did a parlay with all the L7C picks, and I won, so that was nice. So just saying, L7C.
Thank you.
Oh,
I mean, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I mean, I was going to pick the Giants were the first one. There was no way I was going to take the Vikings, so I just parlayed all of our picks because the Giants won because that was obviously the upset, but and the Jaguars because I wasn't picking the Chargers, but yeah. So I practice what we preach on here, so I'll probably do something like that too. The only one I'm iffy, but I just feel like Joseph Burrow is going to have something to say. That's the only one I'm iffy on, but I'm with it with everything else. With that being said, thank you everyone for listening to L7C podcast. We'll be back in 1 week reviewing these games and talking about Championship Sunday. Take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.